last week was a difficult week for me, and I don't know if it was a difficult week for all of you, but it was a difficult week for me because the Petraeus report, General Petraeus, went before Congress. And I had spent several months before that talking to people about the fact that I was looking forward to his report in the sense that I really thought it would be an opportunity to have a dialogue and debate about what's going on in Iraq. And I was also hopeful that we would start to see some Republican senators come to understand that it's time to have a new strategy in Iraq. And then, of course, the president went on national TV and basically said, we're going to have another year of everything that we've had for the last 4 years. And the reduction in troops is actually getting us back to where we were before the surge. And I was very frustrated about that. I was very angry about that. And it was similar to what I've found in the campaign trail, that so many people are feeling frustrated and they're feeling angry. And the biggest challenge that we have is to make sure that that anger and frustration doesn't turn into cynicism. Because then we truly are lost as a party and as a country. And I remembered when I was 19 years old, it's almost 37 years ago, in May of 1972, and Nixon mined the harbors in Haiphong. And I was a freshman at Florida State University. And I was very angry and I was very frustrated. And with 50 other students, we went into the largest street in Tallahassee and we sat down. And we said, we're not going to leave until the war in Vietnam is ended. And of course, the Leon County Sheriff showed up about a half hour later, 45 minutes later, and arrested all of us and took us to the Leon County Jail. So we lasted there for just about an hour before we ended up in jail. Now the good news was that the local sheriff, and this wasn't kind of like a Dukes of Hazzard situation with the sheriff, but he ended up locking the keys to his cruiser in his car, and he blocked traffic for almost 2 hours before they got the keys out. So we were only effective in the sense that the sheriff was that inept that he locked the keys in the car, and the traffic was blocked for almost 2 hours. And again, I was only 19 years old. I thought we'd go to jail, they'd fingerprint us and let us go, and that would be it. But instead, they put us in maximum security, kept us overnight, doubled our bail because we were college students and we were flight risks. And the bail bonds person charged us double the usual rate because we were out of state and we didn't live in Tallahassee. We were from other parts of Florida and we could leave. So that was my experience in terms of the war. And I felt good about being arrested and having my anger and my frustration go somewhere. And what really had occurred to me last week is that we as the Democratic Party need to go sit in the middle of the street. We need to do that now. And we need to say that we're not going to leave the middle of the street. We're not going to get up and leave until we have universal health care. And we're not going to get up and leave until we make sure that everybody in this country has an opportunity to go on to higher education. And we're not going to leave until we end the war in Iraq and not spend $10 million an hour on the war in Iraq. That's what, before we leave here tonight, we'll have spent $20 million on the war in Iraq. Before we leave here tonight, there'll be 4 people in this country who will die simply because they don't have health insurance. And because of this whole debate around Iraq, we've made no progress on health insurance, no progress, very little progress on education, and people have spent a lot of time talking about climate change and global warming, but we really haven't taken the steps that we need to take in order to make sure that our children have an environment in the future that is going to be safe and that it is going to be that's going to be protected. So tonight, rather than do what I normally do, which is talk about all the statistics about healthcare, talk about all the things around education, I really want to call on all of you to be part of this campaign. And that what we're going to do is we are going to go sit in the middle of the street. And we're going to be the Democratic Party that I grew up with, that had the values that said that peace is more important than military intervention. Yes. That said that says having access to higher education is a democratic value because we believe that people should have the opportunity to succeed, and that nobody in this country, nobody, should go without health care because they don't have health insurance. That's a basic and you know, a lot of people, they come up to me and they ask, and they say, you know, what's the difference between you and the other people that are running in this race? And what I say is, what I think this race boils down to is who has a vision of the future for the state of Maine and for the country that's going to lead us forward, that the Democratic Party is no longer the party of opposition, but the party of leadership. And that in 2008, with the Democratic caucus, with the Democratic Congress, with the Democratic president, that we start to lead this country in a way that we rebuild the economy with renewable energy, that we start to focus on ways of making sure that we are seen in the world in a way as a country that is promoting progressive values and not just selling arms to whoever the highest bidder. And you know, when I was growing up, similar to many of you, I grew up in the Kennedy era. And I was proud of the fact that we were going to try to put somebody on the moon. And I was proud of the fact when somebody said, we're going to have a Peace Corps. And I'm going to join the Peace Corps because we're going to go to other parts of the world and we're going to help other countries have some of the opportunities that we have in the United States. And I got to say, after last week, I'm not proud of where we are as a country, where we are with Iraq. And unfortunately, where we are at this particular place, many of us are in a situation where it's hard for us to look at what we're doing as this country and feel proud about that. And this election in 2008 is our opportunity to take back the Democratic Party, take back this country, and be proud again about what we do, not only for our own citizen, but the role that we play in the world to provide peace and opportunity for everybody else. So thank you very much for coming. It's going to be a long 8 months. It's going to be a difficult 8 months. But having all of you with me and as part of this struggle to be in the street and take back the Democratic Party and take back this country is going to be worth it.
Hear, hear.
So thank you.